evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Commander Paul Morgach. We are honoured to welcome Mr. Alex McGowan, President of the ACT Naval Association. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We also acknowledge the members of the RSL and Services Club Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland who are watching this ceremony broadcast across Australia. During the ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors as well as students on behalf of the following schools: Keilor Views Primary School and Cornish College from Bangholm, Victoria. Please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. You may be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Stoker Leslie Walter Keith Mainsbridge of the Royal Australian Navy. Leslie Mainsbridge was born on the 12th of June 1920 in East Prahran, Melbourne, to Walter and Ruby Mainsbridge. Unmarried and working as a painter when war broke out in 1939, he was also a member of the Royal Australian Naval Reserve, reporting for active duty in June of 1940. Mainsbridge was posted to the HMAS Guringai. The vessel had been a fishing trawler in peacetime, but when war started, was taken over by the Navy Board and fitted out for mine sweeping. In early November 1940, a British ship and an American freighter were lost in quick succession to German mine-laying operations in Bass Strait. HMAS Guringai was one of a number of minesweepers sent to locate and destroy the minefields. Following the operation, the minesweeper returned to Queenscliff, but a rising storm sent the ship to Portsea, which was a safe harbour. As the Guringai passed through the dangerous strip at the mouth of Port Phillip Bay in darkness, she was hit by an outbound merchant ship and torn almost in halves. A crewman on the ship that hit the Guringai reported, "In the short time it took me to run along the promenade deck to the rail by the bridge, the Guringai had disappeared. There was not a sound, but the crash of water." In that short moment in between, some eyewitnesses heard men calling for help, but could do little for them. Flotation devices were thrown out into the darkness and lifeboats were deployed immediately. But despite a long search, no survivors or bodies were found. The minesweeper had sunk almost immediately, with all hands still on board. Over the following weeks, diving operations recovered the bodies of 5 of the crew. The body of Leslie Mainsbridge was the third to be found. He was 20 years old. The remaining bodies were never recovered, and the wreck of the minesweeper was blown up to clear the channel. Leslie Mainsbridge's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of courage and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Stoker Leslie Walter Keith Mainsbridge, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They have no grave but the cruel sea. No flowers lay at their head. A rusting hulk is their tombstone, a fast on the ocean bed. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. lest we forget.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We'd like to thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.